So my name is Ondrej. First of all, thank you for the invitation. I really to have a conversation about games, and especially games and music. I think there is a really big overlap between those two industries. I'm working as a business developer with Value of We. Essentially, right now my biggest workload is helping with business development for G2 Esports, one of the biggest esports teams in the world. Definitely, probably the biggest one in the West. Looking back into my career, I was not always working in gaming. I was coming from completely different environment. I was initially starting my career in automotive business, so I was working in manufacturing, just working in office for years. Then I moved to IKEA, so like furniture, again completely different industry, nothing to do with gaming. But then after those 4 years in IKEA, I was still thinking like, hey, this is not really my passion. I work here 8-10 hours a day, then I go home and then I play some games. That's what I like. That's what I have fun with. Uh, why don't I try like I should have a look around. Maybe I can combine it. What I do in work, which was like a business development. Maybe I can find the same work in a different industry, and that's when I moved like to esports, and I decided like to change the industry completely. And from one day to another, I just said like, let's have a look, and I was able to find it. I was at the time living in Prague, and then I moved to Germany, to Berlin, where I'm till today. As I mentioned, working mostly as a business developer and let's say sales guy in esports and gaming.
Kind of interesting. I mean, that you say you work in manufacturing. That's what I do currently. I'm not going to say the company because they don't pay us to advertise. However, that we're kind of the same paths, as it were. So I definitely relate to that. It's that balance of trying to find time to do what you really want to do versus paying the bills and making sure everything else is taken care of. How did you even get to the point to where you was going to say, hey, esports is where I want to go? Like, say you like to play games and stuff, but how did
Yeah,
you know that's where you wanted to go?
watching esports as a fan, I was watching it probably but now it's probably like 10 years, 12 years. My biggest starting point for esports and gaming was League of Legends, where I
Okay.
really like, since the game was released, I was playing it since probably the beta version, or since it was released, I was playing it. And then as soon as like there was professional competition, I started to watch it, and I really loved it. I loved to watch it. It became before that I used to watch soccer, ice hockey, and after that I was just watching esports. It was much more fun to me, and that's why I was thinking like there has to be something. Like it's not just the guys playing the games. There
Right.
is a whole industry around it. So there has to be like people doing normal sort of type of jobs, and I should just look there and have a look. What's possible to do there. It took me like for 4 years of like watching esports till I really decided, hey, I wanna look for something there. I wanna try something.
And what type of skill set did you have to say, hey, I think I can, I think I can pursue this? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously you were watching like esports and stuff like that. I mean, the opportunities for esports, I mean, you can kind of talk about it being in Germany. Like here, I know the esports opportunities have just started to creep up over the last couple of years to where
yeah,
people are starting to understand that it is a very major industry. It's a lot of money within the gaming industry, and all of these different games have all of these just diehard communities that are like just
yeah,
playing
yeah,
games,
yeah.
watching streamers and all of this stuff. As technology has kind of grown, kind of talk a little bit about where you are, like how big is esports, kind of around there, and kind of how are people embracing the whole esports thing?
Yeah, that was actually funny when I was leaving IKEA. Like when I told them, hey, I found a new job. I will work in esports. Everyone was like, what? Like they had no idea what I'm going to do. So I had to show them like videos of people playing esports, playing games on stage, and fans cheering for them. They really like had no idea what am I gonna do. In terms of the skills that I took over into the industry, that was the tricky part that I was trying to solve, because I wasn't sure, like, I'm not a professional gamer. Like, I cannot be the pro player. I cannot be a coach because I'm not really like super good in understanding the games and coaching people. I couldn't be like organizer because I had no really like organizing tournaments or something like that. That wasn't really what I was doing. So I
Mhm.
was just really trying to fit like what I was doing, which was mostly like business development, talking to people, trying to working on financials, project management, stuff like that, which is kind of may seem a little bit boring, like office work. I was trying to fit it into esports,
Mhm.
and then I really saw like there are there are positions in esports in this area, because you need to sell you need to sell advertisements. You need to, if you are doing tournaments, you need sponsors, you need partners. There are these roles that you can do with the skill set that I had, which was mainly like partnership business development. The second question about Germany and basically the size of the market, I'm usually looking at it as a whole Europe, because in esports, I kind of think esports is just international. What I could see as a difference, because already I was born in Czech Republic, which is a small 10 million people country, and there I saw the local esports competitions. And then coming to Germany, I can see, let's say, the global stage. Now working with G2 Esports, they are in the biggest tournaments in the world. I can see the difference, right? If you have a smaller market that is maybe limited by the language, then obviously the competitions will be smaller. But still, even there, right now they are having, like, when they have a national championship, they have at least hundreds and hundreds of fans, sometimes thousands on the bigger events. So even there on the smaller market, it's growing. And then of course in Germany, when I see the bigger events, like when Counter-Strike has major or the bigger events, there are 10-20,000 people in arenas. So that's completely comparable to soccer or traditional sports. I have a funny story with that. When I was working still at IKEA, but I was already leaving, I was talking to a few people around the office. We had, I think it was like a Christmas party or something, and one of my colleagues, he was a bit older than I am, he was walking around the office, and I saw him talking about like his son playing games somewhere, and that caught my attention. So I just wanted to check what he's talking about, and he couldn't find anyone really to talk to, because he discovered his son is playing professionally, and I was really interested to see like what he's talking about. And he told me like his son started to be really good at the games, but he didn't really know. Like he told him, I'm professional now, I can be paid by this. But he still thought it's like, okay, paid by maybe like a couple euros or dollars somewhere. But then he discovered that the son is actually playing the highest league in League of Legends, the European one, and he's paid double than what his father is making. So like he was like, suddenly my son is the best like performing member of my family.
On top of that, you probably got streaming. So I mean, he probably got like money coming in from YouTube,
Yeah,
Twitch,
absolutely.
whoever. I think that's another thing that people are kind of surprised at, is how much money this is actually generating.
Absolutely. In the end, the performance is one thing. Like the players, obviously, they need to be good, but the industry itself, it's entertainment. Like you have to be entertaining. Like there are teams that are more popular, even though they are not as good as other teams, just because they have fun personalities, they do good content, they do streaming, and they entertain people. And then the brands also want to work with those teams, because they of course they care if the team is good, if they are winning titles, they are visible, but they mostly care like about the visibility of the brand, the content, how engaging it is, if people like it, if people talk about the brand. That's what's important. So it's entertainment. It's this is what it is at its core.
You brought up playing League of Legends. Like what kind of games were you into, like besides League of Legends? Is that kind of like you were just like League of Legends, that's my jam, I'm gonna hit that? Or is like what was kind of the repertoire as far as what you were playing?
Yeah, that's how it started for me. Like League of Legends was really, and I'm playing it till today.
Yeah.
Very on a very different level, because I have like a couple hours a week that I can spend playing. But I still play it. But then as I get into esports, I had to, but it was really fun to explore it, to look at different titles as well. So after League of Legends, I had to look at Counter-Strike, which really, again, as an esports title, just as a spectator, I find it really interesting to watch. Lately, I had to lean into Dota as well, which is also like a strategy game, just really complex one. So this one is taking me some time, because it's not that easy. And now the next one that I want to look at is actually Call of Duty, because G2 Esports. I mean, I know the game a little bit, but I don't know the professional scene. I was not really watching the teams play against each other. But I think it was during last year. It was during last year that G2 Esports, the team that I'm working with, they partnered with Minnesota Rocker in Call of Duty. So now basically I have a team to root for.
Yeah.
So I need to look at it and to understand it a bit more.
And that's basically what I watch when I'm watching streamers, the Call of Duty streamers or CDL. So yeah, I'm familiar with the Rocker, of course. As far as like what your kind of title and kind of what you do with like the industry, what is it like, or what type of conversations are you having with some
Yeah,
of these companies?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
as things start to progress and like the dollar amounts start to get higher. What's the scene? What's the vibe like when you're talking to some of these
yeah,
people?
yeah. I would definitely say there's still a lot of the conversations are basically education, because still when you talk to brands that are coming from the traditional space and they were used to sponsor football teams, soccer teams, whatever, and now they are coming into esports or gaming and they want to work with influencers, with gaming teams, with esports teams, uh, they are not sure what to expect. How exactly should they activate? Sometimes you know how the tournaments with like CDL, like how they look like. You have, the fans are there, there's a stage, they have jerseys, you know how it looks, but for the brands they often have no idea. So it's a lot of education. So where I'm coming from, I just need to start the conversation usually to explain them, okay, this is how the ecosystem looks like, these are the games, these are the players, these are the fans, and this is how we can activate. You can work with streamers, you can have jersey placement with logos. uh, there are different ways, you can create content, you can create YouTube videos, stuff like that. So it's a lot. Always I would say the early stage is about education, just understanding what is possible within the gaming space. And then as a next step is then, okay, then if you take our brand, whatever it can be, how that brand can be activated, what is the fitting way, what is the right way to do it in esports. Should we start with some smaller campaign and test it out, and then maybe go on a bigger one? This is usually how the conversation goes. So it's I would say it's slow, because it takes time. So they need to be sure that they are doing the right thing.
Right.
And also quite often the conversation then in the later stage is about how they can activate within the gaming space, so it's natural, like it's authentic, like it's not fake, because working with gamers and like uh, doing basically marketing within gaming, I always say it's a double-edged sword, because it can be very good if you do it right. It can be the best marketing tool on the planet, because you are engaging with a very like passionate fans, and they will love the brand. If the brand is doing it right, they will love the brand for supporting their basically hobby. But if you do it in the wrong way, like you fake it, you just put some logos somewhere and I consider it done. We pay the money, we put some logos there, and now we expect the gamers to love us. It can backfire, yeah, because it can be seem like fake. Someone is trying to buy the way into the gaming ecosystem, and that can backfire. Yeah, so it's really important to just do it the right way.
And you mentioned education, major universities and things like that. They're starting to offer esports as like actual classes and stuff. So you kind of found it, just kind of by happenstance, going and searching for it when people are saying, "Hey, I want to advertise this. I want to do this way." And obviously, you always got to try to find the new, latest and greatest big thing. Now, how do you go about that? How does that kind of come about?
Yeah, I think the key to really have a good campaigns in esports and gaming, and to really engage with the audience, is to work with the gamers and players. Like if you work with them and if you kind of let them do what they do, what they know how to, and they know how to do it the best, then it works out, because like then it comes from the really from the natural position of the gamers. Like if you let them do it, let them do the campaign, they know how to do it best. If you come there and tell them, hey, you have to wear this logo, you have to put it here, you have to say this, no one will like it. Like the gamers will not like it, the players will not like it. It just doesn't work. And this is difficult for the brands, to be fair, like because they are used to like have the control, and they usually the things they do, like traditional advertisement, they do it for years, tens of years maybe. So they know how to do it, they know what to expect. It's a standard procedure for them. Now when they are doing something new, it's very difficult for them to say, okay, we don't know exactly how to enter gaming, like if we want to be present there as a brand, and now you expect us as well to not really control it and to give you the control. That is difficult for them, right? Like they don't want to do it, but also the ones that do it, they really kind of go hands off, like let's do whatever works in gaming. We are open to it. Then the fans love it because they see it. Okay, this brand really accept us as we are. They see us as gamers. They are together with us in the whole ecosystem. So it works in the end. So that's kind of how I see it. And for the education that you mentioned, yeah, that's definitely true that this wasn't, I don't know, 10 years back, there were no like gaming or esports programs at universities or colleges, nothing like that. And now it's starting to exist. I have a guy I know that is leading an esports program at the university in Prague in Czech Republic. And really they are like they have a educational system there. They have a licensing program for coaches.
Mhm.
So now when you know, okay, maybe I'm not the pro player, I'm not super good, so I can make money with it, but I would like to be a coach. They already have a program where you go and you have all cover. They cover all the aspects of coaching. So it's not just like playing the game, but it's like mental, physical activities, training, stuff like that. So really, they cover everything, and they have it under one program. So that's really interesting to see it like popping up year by year, because
Yeah.
this wasn't here 10 years back. Yeah, one thing that I really love about like watching esports in person when there is a physical event, and every year in Germany there's a huge Counter-Strike tournament in Cologne, Intel Extreme Masters,
Mhm.
and I'm going there probably like 3-4 years now. Uh, when you come there, there is a 20,000 people audience. Like really, this is a massive event. But the event itself takes probably like 2 weeks. So the teams are playing against each other, eliminating each other, and then the final, I think, 6 teams are playing over the last weekend in the arena. The other teams are not making it to the arena.
Mhm.
But to buy the tickets, you have to buy them probably like a good couple months earlier than the event itself, because they disappear. Like everyone wants to have the tickets. But what that means is that when you buy the ticket, you don't really know what teams you will be watching, because they will be eliminating themselves throughout the tournament.
Right.
And the thing that I love the most about it is that every year I come there, there is a 20,000 people audience, everyone cheering for a different team.
Mhm.
Sometimes the team is not even in the arena, and they all have a great time. They are
Yeah.
cheering for the other teams. They are singing with each other. They are having a good time. It's not just about like, I'm supporting my team and that's it, like in soccer. They are just loving the game, and that's the nice thing that I see there.
We were talking a little bit about some of the conferences and stuff, just to kind of touch on that a little bit. Does these conferences and stuff play in kind of what you do and kind of esports
Yeah,
in general, or what you do?
they play a big part because it's always about meeting people, and at least for me, that's how you do business. You just meet people, you talk to them, you understand, okay, what do they need, how can I help them? And this is best understood when you meet them, because you don't even have a specific agenda. You just talk to them and you understand, okay, this is what they are working on, these are the problems that they have. Maybe this is how I can help them, and maybe not, maybe they just don't need what we do, and that's fine. But
Right.
usually my way of doing business or business development is that I'm trying to understand what the people are working on, how can I help them. And this is best done when like you can be on these conferences like GDC or Gamescom in Germany, or quite often it's a good opportunity to go to these tournaments that I mentioned, like Intel Extreme Masters or the major in Counter-Strike. Since everyone is traveling there anyway to watch the games,
Right.
usually that's also a good place to just be there and just have the conversations there, and see people in person, because today a lot of meetings and calls are done just through the internet. But then just meeting the people in person is always, I would say, the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the conferences, it's a definitely big part of my work, because I can just talk to people, and that's the best thing about the work that I do.
As far as what you're doing and the business that you're doing, with different people, like what's kind of up next for you, and kind of what does the future look like for you a little bit, like as you know esports is just continuing to grow, obviously, and
Yeah,
is
yeah.
continuing to just make all of this money, like
For me, it's kind of tied to what G2 Esports having planned, because that's I'm working with them, and watching how they grow and where they grow. This is kind of tied to then what I will be doing. But I can tell you the main trajectories that I'm seeing in the industry right now. That's basically going global. So that a lot of the teams are just like G2 Esports. They have headquarters in Berlin, but they have teams in the US, in Valorant and Rocket League. They have teams in Asia, in Dota 2 and in Wild Rift. So they are going global because gaming is international language. Yeah, like you don't care. Then I see a lot of expansion in raising the new talent. So basically giving opportunities not only to the top players that can play the top leagues and everything, but also grassroots esports competitions, like where the talent is coming from. How can we raise the new players of tomorrow? How can we give the opportunities to maybe groups that are not having that easy access to gaming, historically. Like even if you look at girls, they just have a harder time going professional because they are going into male dominated, so maybe giving them a separate competitions where they can compete. That's something that is very, I see a huge future in that. So growing the talent, looking where the grassroots competition can come from, and helping the community to grow the new talent and to have the clear path. Okay, I'm good. I'm let's say I'm 14 years old. I'm good in this game. How can I become a pro? How can I have this as a career? So helping this is definitely a new way, an important way.
Like, where do you see esports, the connection between all of that? Let's say in another decade, where do you see esports? What heights do you think we'll be at, and where kind of you think we're going with it?
Yeah, it's hard to predict this. You see how fast it's moving. How
Yeah.
you see the step that we did in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
To know what exactly will happen in next 10 years is very difficult to say. I think there will be very big change with the incoming age of, let's say, VR, because I think that will be a new way how to watch gaming and esports. You cannot do it in traditional sports, but you can do it in esports because it's a computer game. You can
Right.
technically watch it anywhere. Like imagine you will be standing right in the middle of the game and the players will be running around you shooting and you will be watching from VR.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think will help a lot to the audience and to the growth. I think the commercial models will be more clear because today, as I said, lots of the brands are still learning. But in 10 years, I think we will all know, okay, this is how we monetize gaming. This is how it can make money. This is how, if you're a player, you can make a career. If you are organizing tournaments, this is how you can make money. This is if you are grassroots esports organizer. This is how you can grow and attract talent to your competitions. So I think all these things will be much more clear in 10 years, and that will help with the growth even in areas that maybe today it's not that big. If you look at Africa, if you look at Southeast Asia, maybe folks don't have access to consoles or PC gaming, but they do mobile gaming. Mobile gaming will be huge again as well, like in esports, or it already is. So it will only grow. So I think it will just enable, like, as the technology will be more accessible, it will enable more and more young people to engage with it and become a fans.
And just to sign off, tell people how, if you want people to reach out to you, figure out, keep up in touch with what you got going on.
I'm actually using mainly only one social network, so my way of reaching out is definitely LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with me, I'm always open to connections. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm trying to create content there about esports and gaming. I'm trying to make it easy to understand for people that are maybe outside of the industry. They don't really know what's gaming about. I'm trying to, through my content, I'm trying to explain, okay, this is what gaming and esports is. This is what why the fans like it. This is how you can enter it for the brand. So I'm spending a lot of time explaining, okay, this is what your brand can get if they come into esports, and this is how you do it. So I'm trying to put my knowledge out there.